Hello and welcome to my intermediate ZQuest tutorial. This tutorial will be covering more intermediate advanced subjects in the ZQuest program. I will not be covering certain basic functions of the program such as dmap setup and, I don't know, guides and caves and stuff like that. Stuff that you probably should know if you're watching this tutorial already, and stuff you probably should know if you've been using the program for, let's say, a couple weeks. That is some pretty basic stuff. Now, I will be showing you certain things such as the new features of 2.5. If you can even call 2.5 new anymore, I don't even know. But I'll be covering those, along with a few, what's the term, ease of life, I don't know. Things like that have been added in 2.5. In this episode, I will also be covering basic overworld design. I won't be designing a full coherent overworld, not even a proper game. In fact, I think if I create multiple parts to this tutorial series, I will actually just be jumping around tile sets starting from scratch each time. That, or, I don't know, editing the quest I'm building right now, just as I'll just be editing it as a base thing so I can actually have a coherent quest to build off of. Now, again, if you are here and you are new to the program, I would highly, highly recommend that you go to Picked Up on a Bus's tutorial on Zelda Classic. The program might be a little bit outdated in his version because it came out in, what, 2008? 2007? I don't even know at this point. I watched it so long ago. But he covers all the basics of the program, and I'd highly recommend you give him a watch. Hell, maybe even watch him if you know what you're doing. Because it's all the support you can get, whatever. Anyway, enough chitter-chatter. I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. First, I will be covering certain basic new features that have come with the 2.5 update to Zelda Classic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete the map here because those are the stock screens that came with with pure 2.5, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this to tutorial. Now, I'll just go ahead and show a couple quality of life, that's the term, quality of life features that have come with 2.5 that are things I have not seen too many people address. First off, if you hold control, you saw me do it just now, but if you hold control and click with any tile, you can fill the entire screen with said tile. Now, this is extremely useful whenever you're quickly filling in the ground on a world screen or filling in the floor on a dungeon screen. I have been using this shortcut for years, and it has saved me so much time. You may know it already. I don't know, I'm just covering things that may be more advanced. May in quotation marks. Now, there are a few other things in 2.5 that are very useful that are unique to this version and none of the previous versions. First of all is these right here. You can see that there are a bunch of these little tabs with numbers on them. Now, what are these numbers, you may ask? Well, as you can see here, the number to the left of the colon represents the current map you're on, and the number to the right of the colon represents the screen coordinates that you're on. Now, each one of these tabs can be a unique window, scene, I don't know what to call it, that allow you to jump quickly between areas without having to navigate your way through the map screen and then use the arrow key or click on the map down here to get to the screen you're looking for. I actually don't personally use it, mainly because it's old habit. I first started using the program back in 2.10, so I didn't have this feature, and I just kind of learned without it, and I've never bothered to learn how to use it. Now, another good feature that came with 2.5 is, allow me to set this up properly, so I'll probably cut here. Won't take too long, but alright, I now have this set up. I have no idea if in that basic tutorial that Jish made, if he covered anything with layering. I do not recall if he ever did that, so I'll probably go over that in a little bit. But if you do know how to layer, that's good. These little tabs down here below the scene tabs allow you to directly edit each layer without having to travel to the proper screen. So if I want to add something onto layer 1 without having to leave the screen that I'm on, I can actually just go ahead and click on layer 1 and click on here, and I now have a top of a tree on layer 1, which you should not do at all. So yeah. Now, a few other things that I have found quite useful in 2.5 is the favorite combos tab. Now, I don't actually use this for favorite combos at all. I actually just use it for quick navigation between tiles. Let's say I want to travel to the NPC section. Well, thankfully, this tile set comes with a bunch of preset favorite combos that you can use to navigate quickly to each and every section of the tile set. I cannot guarantee this is going to be in every single tile set, but you can probably set it up yourself once you first find the tiles you're looking for. Look, it's a link. It's a link. Here we go. You got a link. You didn't have to scroll all the way to combo 1,800, which probably actually would not have taken too long, seeing how... Yeah, that didn't take long at all. But some tile sets have the dungeon tiles very far down. Anyway, I've never used a favorite commands thing, but you can quickly set up favorite commands, so you don't have to use keyboard shortcuts or navigate through the tabs here. But they're there if you want to use them. Now, first off, I'm actually going to start covering how to properly build a overworld screen. This is not going to necessarily be the start of a game or anything. It's more of a basic overworld screen. So I will set up a few cliffs first, because there is, to be able to work efficiently, it's always best to have some kind of set order in your mind to design separate, separate screens, or design your screens. And I generally start, at least for the overworld, with the cliffs. Now, you may have a different order. It's all up to personal preference. However, I find this the most efficient way to design screens. I'll actually restart this because I'm actually putting stuff on layer 1. I should not be doing that. But back to layer 0. Go ahead and set up some cliffs. I like to keep my cliffs a little bit curvy because it makes it look a little more natural and less stupid. I don't know. So I'll go ahead and place these. We use the fill shortcut, fill that, and let's add a second cliff down here. A good way to work with cliffs, making natural looking cliffs faster, is to put the corners in first, and then the straight pieces. So go to that, then set up something down there, down here, and let's put some dirt in this pit. So let's find the dirt bottom to this cliff tile set and place those. Now, generally you actually don't want to have the bottom of a cliff touching the bottom of a screen, but this is the lowest point in the overworld map. You cannot go into the 8 screens without going into a cave, and you're not even supposed to be able to access these screens anyway. In fact, funny fact, the screen right here is the base screen that the favorite combos use, which is kind of funny, if you ask me. Alright, now that the cliffs are in, along with the ground tiles, I will now be covering the trees. Now, right here, I'm going to actually show you how to alias trees. I think this tileset comes with preset aliases. Yes. Aliases are just pretty much, you can just quickly plop down complex objects that require layering. But I'll show, just for sake of example, how to set up an alias. Mouse went flying there. I'll set up a duplicate alias because I don't want to have to find something new. Now, I'm actually not sure. Oh yeah, never mind, I do know what this does. This tab right here allows you to edit certain aliases. However, it is kind of useless, seeing how you can just click on a certain alias and right-click it directly to edit it. But I digress. This is the thumbnail. You don't have to set this up ever, generally. This is a good tool to use. You don't have to have it on at all times, but it only shows what's on the current layer that you are viewing. These tabs show what layer you are editing in the alias. I'm actually not sure what the organization tab does, but I've never had a need to use it anyway. Now the properties, these are what you'll need. In this case, I'm going to be setting up a tree alias. So I'll go ahead and set it up as a 2x2 alias and force it to draw on layer 0 by default, which is not shown in this tab, and also layer 3, which is the lowest overhead layer. Now first off, I'm going to begin placing the layer 0 tiles. Once I have those, I'm going to move over to layer 3 and begin placing those into the alias. Oh, did I mean to do that? Now, thankfully, combo aliases is free to be able to work faster. It remembers what the last page you were on the combo list, so you do not have to navigate to it each time you want to find the same set of combos, which is very useful. Now that we have the alias set up, wait, let me add one more thing. Forgot this. These are to keep players from walking too close behind the tree and kind of breaking the illusion somewhat by slashing straight through it. Not to mention, you can also use it as a barrier more effectively, without it being an eyesore. Now that we have these two set up, I can now do that. Now the only problem with this alias I set up right here is that it can only be placed on grass, so I'll actually... No, this is just for sake of example. I'm not going to be actually using this one. This one can only be placed on grass, unfortunately, but yeah, you can have an alias set up on top of each other, all the different layers. Anyway, I'll go ahead and use the stock alias here and start plopping down trees throughout the screen. Now, let's keep players from being able to walk against the bottom of the screen, so let's go ahead and set up a series of trees down here. Try not to have too regular of a pattern with your trees, because it'll actually look fake. I personally do not like that. I mean, I guess it's all up to personal preference, to be honest, but I think it looks better if you have a slightly more random arrangement with your trees, like that. Set up a few trees up here. Unfortunately, you cannot place alias combos above a certain point, so you'll have to manually set up either an alias for the bottom of trees only, or just place the bottom of trees manually at the top of the screen. Let's set up a natural barrier here, and here, here, there. And finally, let's cycle back to the main combo list and place down the trees at the top of the screen, which should not take long at all, seeing how I do not have to set up the tops of said trees. Okay, so now I've got my trees. The next thing I should do is put the more interactable objects around, such as bushes. Bushes are good for general clutter. Plus, I'd recommend you have bushes pretty frequently show up inside of your overworld for the player to be able to easily restock on health and rupees, things like that, but don't go crazy with your bushes. Don't do that. Or in actual seriousness, don't actually cover everything with bushes and make it look overgrown, because that begins to look obnoxious as well. Unless that's a certain look you're going for. Again, that's up to personal preference as well. Try not to place any bushes on the edge of the screen if you're going to be able to walk in that area, because you will enter the screen. You can enter the screen inside of the bush, and that will kind of look weird. Alright, so now that I have the bushes set up, I can now set up minor details. I can cycle through the palettes here and choose small little clutter on the ground I can place, make it look nice and pretty. Just place it randomly. Make it look a fair bit detailed. Now, the ground may look a little bit undetailed right now, even with this stuff. I like, whenever this situation comes up, I like to place pathways that can both guide the player towards settlements and points of interest, while at the same time removing some of the grass to fill in with detail. This is a subtle way to push a player towards a certain area. Very minor, it doesn't always work, but it's a thing. Go ahead and put a little bit of clutter inside of the dirt there. And there you go, you got the clutter there. Now, once I have this set up, I will let's put some enemies in. Put some simple Octoroks. Put 2 Octoroks. Good shortcut for the enemy key is the E key. And to navigate to enemies of your choice, just press the first letter that it starts with, and it will auto-scroll down to it, which is very useful. Now, I'll start on the screen just for the testing section. I'll go ahead and place that and set up the DMAP. It should not take long at all. I'm on screen 7.4. Start on 7.4. Continue here. I do not have any music set up, but you should know how to set up music at this point, so I'm not going to bother with that for right now. And now I'm going to actually cover something that I don't recall in the basic tutorial by Jish, the Initialization Data. This is a tool that allows you to change what the player has from the get-go in the game, from when they first start. Here's an entire item list of all the different items in the game that do not have a numerical value like rupees or arrows, something like that. This is your equipment. Now, your items right here are your bombs, which are oddly separate from the item bombs. This is actual bomb ammunition. You start with 8 bombs or something. Let's give the player 8 bombs. Let's give him 30 arrows, the max of 30. And let's give him 27 rupees, because why not? And a super bomb. 21 super bombs. Okay, didn't mean to do that. 1 super bomb. I'm not going to bother with giving him keys. Now, here are the level items. It took me a while to figure out what this was, but actually, these numbers right here represent the level number that is written in the DMAP section. And this stands for the map, this stands for the compass, and this stands for the boss key. It stands for level-specific keys that you can give the player from the get-go inside of various levels, all the way up to level 511. This is the starting DMAP. By default, it's set to 0, and I will not need to change that. However, you can change it to whatever. You can have them, if you also want to, you can have them start inside of a dungeon, which would be a little weird, but your choice, your game. You can turn on or off slash from the start and give them Triforce pieces, which seems a little odd of a choice to give the player at the beginning. You can also give them a magic bar by setting up, let's give them 256 magic and set the max at 256. There we go. And give him 4 heart containers, because I like doing that in my games. I prefer having slightly more health in the beginning anyway. Continue HP 100%. If you have a percent off, that is the amount of points of health that you have. I'm not sure if that means hearts or quarter hearts, but if you set it to percent, that just multiplies it into the health bar. If it's set to 100, you will always start with a full health bar when you die or start the game from a continue. Constraints. These are a little more niche, but things like gravity, terminal velocity, and not sure what that one is, but you can set the player in the side view gravity screen data to fall faster, along with Rock's Feather, which are 2 new items in 2.5 as well. Terminal velocity is how fast the player falls as well. Let's go ahead and add a little more screen clutter without having it look excessive. There we go. Oh, wait, I forgot right here. There we go. Alright, now, I think that's about it. For this screen, at least. Let's say I want to set up a cave, though. Let's put a cave. I personally would not do this on a single screen, however, this is just for the example. I'll set up a cave here. Actually, let's make it bombable, just to use those bombs I gave, along with a staircase that is right here. Now, the player will start at warp return A. Now, right here, this is warp return B. Oh, that is interesting about this tile set. This tile set only has cave, walk down A, and stairs A set up, which means I'll have to set up a custom combo. That, or I'll just, for this case only, set up B warps for the cave. Now, set up multiple. To set up multiple different caves on the same screen, all you'll have to do is go to the tile warp screen and select each tab. This will represent what each suffix on the stairs or cave combo will take you. And warp return represents what warp return down here it will use when they reach that screen. In this case, let's just use A for both, because if it's a cave, they'd be coming out on different screens anyway. Now, it'd probably be best if I... Oh, did not mean to do that. Set up the warp returns here, set warp return B for right there, and warp return C for right here, which is actually kind of ass backwards, but oh well. You do not want to have a warp return inside of a bush, because that would be weird. Anyway, set up the tile warp for the stairs first. Let's set up the stairs screen here. I'm not going to build a full coherent screen. I'll just set up like a shape, a stair-step shape, to represent the fact that I came down the stairs or something. And set warp return A right here, and the return point right here. Now I can set up a tile warp back here. This is tile warp A, so I can tile warp to. And I'm not going to change the DMAP in this case because I don't want to have to set up a new DMAP, but screen 7.3, entrance, exit, go. There we go, I'm right there. And now to set up the cave, which actually isn't there yet, I'll need to set up a secret combo. So that will not take long. You should know how to do this already. So we set up the bombable flag on top of the cave, go to secret combos, head over to the bomb tab, cycle to the correct combo, scroll down, select this, hit OK, and then set up a tile warp to, let's say, screen 7.5 for tab B, because the cave will be cave walk-up B 7.5, 5, entrance exit, as usual. Have them go here. There's nothing on the screen, but I will set up an archway-shaped thing with rocks just to represent the cave. Put myself in at warp return A, and then put a staircase here to bring me back to the main screen, even though I could actually just walk over. Set up a tile warp to 7.4. Use warp return B, entrance exit, go. The flashing represents which warp return the staircase is using. Go ahead and set it up here too, because I forgot to do that. 7.4, and use warp return C, because remember I got a little ass backwards there with the warp returns. And there we go. I believe that covers just about everything. So let's go ahead and save our work. I'd recommend you save pretty frequently, because I've had a few unfortunate instances where Zelda Classic crashes, or ZQuest crashes, and I have to go back to a autosave and then forget that the autosave happened before I did a substantial amount of work and lose a tiny bit of work, which is unfortunate, but at least I didn't lose an entire dungeon or something worth. Now then, drinking water. I will register my name. Tut. And I will go ahead and grab the quest. Oh, I'm going to have to navigate to it. Fun. Alright. You get to see all my crap. I mean, I don't really have much on my computer right now since I only got it a few weeks ago. But whatever. I have Zelda Classic saved on my desktop from my backed up stuff from my old computer. Zelda Classic. Scroll down to tutorial. I did not set up the quest properties or any rules, but oh well. Go ahead and start. I did not start with bombs. I did not start with a sword, so I will have to use bombs to combat these guys. Not too bad of an issue. They're already gone. I cannot break this bush. Fun. Alright, just technical difficulties. I'll just cut in a second. Okay, I just had to check the cheat code to be able to access link data. Link data is essentially just the initial data, initialization data, but in Zelda Classic rather than ZQuest. Go ahead and give myself a sword, because I forgot to do that. Set up the cave. Walk in, and now I'm inside of the cave screen. Walk back in here. Came out of the cave properly. Go into the staircase. Come out here. Go back into the staircase. Come out here. Everything is in working order. Now, as a quick last bit to this tutorial, I will show you various things you should not do. Just like I did earlier with the bushes and the clutter and stuff like that. First off, you shouldn't just flat out not do this. Try to keep most of your corners of the screen filled, because it can be a little weird once you're walking through a field and all you have is grass and maybe a tree in the middle, like this. The screen detail, and that's it. Nothing in the corners, no substance whatsoever. Feels too open, and this is a 2D game. It'll feel very empty. Something on the opposite end of the spectrum is that you should never make areas too linear or too narrow for too long a time. I see this happen a lot in quests, where quest creators tend to set up a row of trees, natural looking or not. I'll just set up an unnatural because I don't want to have to go in and add all that extra detail, where the player is funneled through a tiny area where they have no real directional changes whatsoever. That is a waste of space on the D-map and can be easily used for caves and other various areas in the overworld, such as secrets and dungeons and what have you. Yeah, do not funnel, like I said, do not funnel your player. Try to keep your game as open as possible, assuming you're making a basic Zelda Classic quest. Things you also should not do is don't forget to set up the proper warp returns for your cave, because you don't want to go inside the staircase and then exit the staircase and you're coming out of that cave, because that's an improperly set up warp return. And if you leave it at the default, you'll be spawning at where the player initially starts. Also, I've noticed this one other thing a lot in even really well-made quests. Even in one of my favorite quests of all time, Link's Birthday Deluxe, people seem to not understand that if it is a cave walk up tile, you can just set up the exit right above the cave to have you properly walk out. People do know that if you just put it at the bottom of the cave, you will walk out of a cave walk down, but I don't see people use the cave walk up exit animation very often at all. And I think that covers just about everything. So thank you for watching, and happy questing.